Hey everybody, welcome to the Shut Up and Do It podcast, the place you can come and hang out with us while we go through all things real estate with a focus on bringing you top quality topics and speakers, all who believe in a get it done manner. I'm your host, Nick Allerud, creator of the Complete Deal Flow System and a principal with AA Real Estate Group, along with my partner and co-host, the deal flow expert, the sales trainer, the lead gen machine, the leader of the solutions group, the broker, esquire, and multi-family buyer, Robbie Retzel. What's up, Rob?
Not much, man. I'm excited for today's podcast. You talk about shutting up and doing it. This lady really does it, man.
This lady totally does it. I'm also super stoked to have Marianne on this podcast. The brief background that I know about Marianne, and I'll let her tell the story, but I remember meeting her as a door opener for a local real estate investor association, and holy cow, does she have a shut up and do it attitude, and has blasted and destroyed everything she's ever set her mind to. And we're super, super stoked to have her today. So I guess I'm not even going to try to do an intro. Marianne, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
That's awesome. If you don't mind, why don't you start by just kind of giving us a little bit of history background, even the pre-Marianne, pre-real estate, who is Marianne? What is your story?
There is no pre-real estate. No. So, I mean, it's long. It's a journey and a good journey, but I guess like everybody went to college, or not everybody. I had an idea of what I wanted to do, came out of college. I worked for a newspaper. I was in marketing. Really, I was in graphic design. So I worked for the Portsmouth Herald, contract for their marketing director for some time. And in the state of the economy, newspapers were downsizing. So the Portsmouth Herald downsized and my manager got cut. So I got cut. And I had always had an interest in real estate. My husband and I bought a 2-family when we first got married, and 5 years later sold it for more than double. So that was always in the back of my head. I want to know more about real estate. So I ended up, I think that's when I met you, Nick. I went to a real estate investor meeting and met some really great people there. I just wanted to get my foot in the door, literally. And so I was the door handler.
Good one.
I wanted to get my foot in the door. I wanted to be around these people because I knew there was something there for me. Not quite sure what yet. I met a wonderful lady named Peg, and we started some short sales together. I think she went more of the rehab route, and I stayed in short sales. And then oh, sorry, my phone. Let me shut this off. So, yeah, she stayed in rehab and she's done quite well for herself. My mom had got sick, so I took a little break, and then I met you, and we did short sales together. So it was kind of a great match, and I haven't turned back since.
That was incredible. Did you? So you did become a master door opener though in that process.
I think so. I mean, I might have like crushed a foot here and there, or someone I didn't like. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I did good. I met, like I said, for me, it was all about the experience of meeting everybody there at the time, which is not something I'm great at. So it was definitely out of my comfort zone. And yeah, had a great time, met some wonderful people. Still am friends with a lot of people that I met there. And I wouldn't trade that experience for anything because it did open a lot of doors for me.
100%.
Yeah.
On the marketing background that you had, so it would appear that, I mean, you were doing more than obviously just meeting and greeting people. You had kind of their whole marketing department, right, for that Real Estate Investor Association, essentially kind of getting people in the door?
Nope. Actually, there was a different person there that ran their marketing department. I sort of worked with her. I think she's still there. But I was sort of an add-on. I was the add-on marketing person.
But as the marketing person, I guess, would you say that pretty much all real estate, be it short sales or rehabbing or wholesaling, would you agree that most of it is so marketing centric that's kind of the business?
Yes. Yep. 100% agree. And it's something you have to continually do each month, and you have to grow each month, and you have to change each month because the market changes each month. So your marketing has to change each month. For anybody that says they're at the top of the peak of their game in the business, then that makes me nervous because everybody has a place that they could grow, including me. And I feel I know a lot about my little niche, but I would never say I know everything. So I think that's inclusive of marketing. I think that's inclusive of real estate. We all have to be continuing to grow and do better. It's not just something we can sit back and go, oh yeah, I'm just going to make all this money and not work for it. So.
Yeah. For newbie wholesalers or rehabbers out there, obviously we're dealing with houses, we're dealing with sticks and contractors and stuff, but this business comes down to relationship, sales, and marketing. That's pretty much it. You're in the sales business, you're in the marketing business. It's the only way you're going to get deals. It's the only way you're going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I agree completely.
Why short sales, Marianne? What brought you into you're come 1,000 years from where you used to be, but why the niche short sales?
Why the niche short sales? I think honestly, because it's something no one else wants to do. Like I like a challenge. People hate short sales. Some people love them. The crazy people like me love them. So, and there's only a few of us out there, and there's only a few good people out there that really know what they're doing. So, everybody can say they know how to do a short sale, and I've had the funniest exchanges with people who told me they knew how to do short sales and absolutely had no idea what they were doing. Mm-hmm. So for me, I like it because it is a niche that I do know well now. I know where to go in the chain of command if things aren't going my way. Not that I can always make everything go my way, but I also know that like I said, it's a niche that not a lot of people have experience in. I think a lot of people say they do short sales, but the true people that do them, there's very few. Like I could probably name 2 or 3 in Massachusetts and maybe like 2 in Connecticut, 1 in New Hampshire that I know that does them well. And I think that's one of the reasons I enjoy it. It's something no one else really does and does well, and it's led us to other things. It's led us to teaching, which is amazing. And Nick and I have been in front of lawyers, and we've been in front of title companies, and we've been in front of realtors. So it's opened a lot of doors.
Yeah, it's really funny too. For those who don't know Marianne, she's not an attorney by trade, but I can tell you she can parse a statute with the best of them. I've seen her.
I want to get my water out.
I mean, it's that meticulous nature I think that you really need for all the stuff that goes on in a short sale and just get through it all. So yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Thinking back too, I remember when Marianne and I'm privileged and honored to call Marianne my business partner at this point, but I remember in the beginning days when we were trying to work with other servicers and other attorneys to negotiate these sales, and the same challenges kept coming up one after another, right? I mean, For us, I think it was lack of communication, right? Or if they were communicating, they were kind of just paper pushing and just trying to this is what they said, and they wouldn't care about follow up and frequency and trying to get a sale done. They would just more care about shifting information whenever they got around to it.
I don't think it's worth a lawyer's time to do short sales. I mean, most of the lawyers I know, like they should be charging a lot of money for their services, and then at the end of the day, a short sale for them, it's just they're probably paying somebody a lot of money to do paper processing. I just don't see that it's worth it, but they still have it to their repertoire. So.
Yeah, no, it's true. I never understand why attorneys do them. I guess it makes sense if you have a brokerage or something set up as well. I mean, maybe that's what they're doing, but you're right. For dollars per hour, it doesn't really make that much sense for most attorneys.
Nope.
That's crazy.
Coming from an attorney. See?
So I just, obviously we do all of our short sale, any short sales that we come across through Short Sale Mitigation, Marianne's company. How does it work if an investor comes across a short sale or an agent comes across a short sale? What's the process? Do you want to walk through that?
Yes. So right now, we have a great network of people. You guys had touched upon that in the beginning. It really is for us networking and getting out there and talking to realtors and talking to attorneys and title companies. So when someone comes across a potential short sale, whoever that is, whether it's the attorney or the agent, and they say, I have this client and I believe they're going to be short on their mortgage based on the numbers, then they usually call us in. We're called like before it's even listed typically, which is probably the best time, because we're going to go through that short sale with them. Some short sales are not viable to even take as an agent, as an attorney, or for us. They're not viable because there are some servicers out there that don't do short sales. Some are very difficult, we know up front. I know they're supposed to offer loss mitigation options to borrowers, but they will do that under the premise of something else. The next thing you know, they're doing a deed in lieu. So we usually know these right up front so that we can have that discussion with the listing agent. And then there's some servicers that have guidelines in place that in the listing, they need certain verbiage in the listing. So when that happens, that's why it's more important to get us involved right up front. Because I'll tell that agent, hey, this is an FHA short sale. You need this particular verbiage in the listing agreement that you execute with the homeowner. And it just saves us that step rather than getting halfway through the process and then the servicer going, oh, I'm going to kick this listing agreement back because it's not proper or it doesn't have this verbiage. So, liability wise too, we teach, Nick and I teach. So we know what to look for, what may be too risky for an agent, what shouldn't be done, what should be done. So when they contact us, we'll go through all that with them. We go through all that with the homeowner. We're making sure that it's going to be a viable short sale to complete and do for everybody's time, because it is a lot of time to do these. So I think that's part of the process that we start with, and then really just carrying that through all the way to the end. And like Nick said earlier, constantly updating the parties involved, whether it's the buyer's agent, the buyer's attorney, or whether it's the seller's attorney, the seller, whoever's involved, sometimes a lender, the seller's lender, the buyer's lender. So keeping all them parts moving so that you can get to the end, get short sale approval and close. And that's when, that's why we would get involved, or how.
Wow. I get so hot when she's talking short sales. Wow. It's like you know everything. That's pretty amazing. Well, no, but that's honestly, that's another huge testament to Maryann too, right? So she dives into something. She doesn't just dive in with 1 foot. You got into this with 2 feet and 2 hands, and you've ripped this thing apart. And I firmly believe that, we have the best thing going as far as the knowledge and the drive to get things done out there. So huge. What's been, also touch on what you just mentioned, setting expectations, right? You just touched on that, making sure that the deal is viable, but also that the agent, the buyers and the buyer agents, right? Sellers and the listing agents, as well as the attorneys involved, right? Everyone really needs to know kind of how this is going to play out. And we need everyone on board from day one. This is what you're expected of. This is what's expected of you. This is what's expected
Right.
of us. How do we kind of lead you through that process? What's been one of the hardest challenges in the short sale world for you, either with investors or just in plain short sale world or retail?
The hardest thing, and if anyone knows me, it's when a servicer denies a sale for really no cause. You have a valuation that came in where it should have. You have an offer on the table from a viable buyer, and it happens. It doesn't happen often, but it happens. Because things, like I said at the beginning of this whole thing, things change. Short sales have changed. They've changed from 10 years ago. So what maybe was acceptable to a servicer back 10 years ago may not be acceptable today. So, what I've seen in some servicers, and this is an interesting thing, is if they think they can get more money by foreclosing. I saw one servicer foreclose and then they renovated and rehabbed the house themselves and put it on the market. So I don't really know how you can work through something like that. You don't know that at the beginning of a short sale. Sometimes they'll go halfway through or all the way through and tell you, yeah, no, we're not going to work with you. We think we can do more if we foreclose and rehab it ourselves. I have no answer to that. That could be possible. And maybe that's happening. I don't see it happen often. I've only seen it happen that one time. But yeah, basically the thing I hate the most is when I don't know or ahead of time why something isn't going to close or how it doesn't close. So, which is why I like to eliminate all that up front.
Mm-hmm. Got
Absolutely.
it.
Makes sense.
Do you think, just rolling with that, I mean, one of the other questions I think we get asked a lot are, I have a first mortgage, a second mortgage, but, as a seller, I don't need to necessarily disclose to you if I have credit card companies that I owe money to, if I have contractors that I owe money to, if an IRS, maybe I owe them a little bit of money, right? How would you kind of address that? I'm going to say even on the investor side too, right? So an investor brings a deal to you, Marianne, and says, oh, they only owe a first mortgage and a second mortgage, roughly this, but we're 50,000. My offer is 50,000 less than what they owe, so we're in good shape. Maybe how would you address that with that investor and or seller?
Well, the beauty of working with us is we have an amazing title company we work with, and they will pull title. And I'm going to say right up front that I only worry about what's on title. I only worry about what's going to affect the sale of the property. So if there's personal debt that's on title, we're going to negotiate it. If somebody just has personal debt and it's not on title, we don't negotiate that. So if there is, if these are all clouds on title, if there's a credit card debt, if there's an execution, if there's an IRS lien, a Mass Department of Revenue lien, whatever other lien is on title, those are the things that we'll negotiate through the sale. If there's an investor that comes in and says, oh, I really like this property, I'm going to go over the title with him to make sure, let's get back to some expectations. Here's some hefty fines or hefty bills that we're going to have to negotiate. Money might have to come from somewhere to settle this debt, because most of the sellers we're working with don't have a ton of money that they can use to settle some of these secondary liens, and sometimes the servicers won't allow the payment of those debts out of the proceeds. So working with a great title company, making sure we know what impacts the real estate, the sale of the transaction, and then working to clear those systematically off title so that we get to closing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely.
Robbie, now you have a team, a solutions team that works a lot with short sale clients and stuff. Do you have any questions for her as far as the top 2 or 3 questions, like from your team, maybe when they're starting out and don't really know much about short sales and that sort of thing that they're asking?
A lot of it has to do with the paperwork, and as Marianne said, she basically has it all put together in kind of a nice little package for them. So as long as they are asking the right questions and able to sit down and kind of put some time into it, it's not really all that difficult to figure it out. A lot of what we get though from on the agent side is, what kind of commission can I charge? Am I going to get paid? Who pays the, is the buyer going to have to pay for the short sale? That kind of thing. We get a lot of that stuff. And obviously that's easily explained, but yeah, I mean, those are most of the questions that we get.
Gotcha.
From my team. Yeah, go ahead.
You want to address any of those, Marianne? What he just said at the end?
Yeah, sure. Well, first, I am used to getting calls all day long from agents. So any agent of yours, any agents out there, anybody can always call me and ask a question. And I love questions. I like building a relationship with those agents as well. I feel the more questions they ask, the better the sale is going to go. It's worse to work with somebody that doesn't ask any questions, that doesn't know what they're doing, and they don't know what they're doing. So it's better to have somebody like, oh, what does this mean, and how do I get, and I get that an agent's primary concern is going to be their commission. That's awesome. And so one of the ways we would address that, and the only way I could really say it is, hey, this is this investor, and this investor pays X, so you'll get X commission.
Yep.
And typically we can do that. Otherwise, it's like, you have to list it where you feel comfortable, and we'll fight for your commission with the bank if we can, but be prepared. They may cut it. So either the seller has to come up with that commission, or you have to eat it, or you have to figure out another creative way to get that money, unless you're going to write it off too. Most of them do. And then, of course, our fee is paid by the buyer at closing, just like the agent's fee. Just like the attorney's fee. I mean, if we don't close, nobody gets paid. So our fee is put on the HUD at closing. It's disclosed up front in the sale. It's signed off on by the buyer and seller. So if anybody has questions on the fee, they can always call me. I can walk them through it. And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Nick.
No,
and I have that link, that YouTube link that goes through how to list a short sale with short sale mitigation. If you literally just Google that phrase, you get a 25-minute video, PowerPoint video of how to list a short sale with us.
So agents out there, Marianne makes it very, very easy to understand what you have to do. I think you get some issues where the agent tries to kind of overstep. They maybe try to get on the phone with a lender, that kind of thing. And really, the best part about working with SSM is you don't have to do any of that. Just do what Marianne, does all this. This is all
do what I say.
Just do what Marianne says, and you'll get paid at the end. It's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What we'll try to do too is we'll ask Jared or our editor, if you guys want to post that link right here in the description on our YouTube and Facebook channels, that would be awesome for that video. So
yeah.
That's
honestly, you really can just Google it. It's that easy. How to list a short sale with short sale mitigation. It's the first link on Google.
You know what's what I get a lot too at networking events. Investors who, I came across somebody in pre-foreclosure. I think it's a short sale situation. I don't want to pay that $5,000 fee though. And I just, like, okay, so you want to be on the phone all day, like giving the same paperwork, getting the paperwork from the seller, then giving the same paperwork to 3 different bank departments and blah, 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 blah. The fee is the least of your concern as an investor. Just pay it. It's worth it. Go find another deal. I mean, it's crazy, but yeah.
Well, it's funny. It depends on who you talk to. And FYI, we have 3 price points, and 5,000 is sort of our middle point.
Absolutely.
But it's funny who you talk to, because I've talked to attorneys, and when they see what we do, they're like, "Oh my God, you undercharge so much. You need to charge more." So I think it depends on who you're talking to. And honestly, if you're going to pay $400,000 for a property, I honestly can't see why you wouldn't pay $395 and bring 5 to closing. That doesn't even make sense to me. So that's usually my standard response. Yeah.
Into the numbers. It's not a big deal. I think it comes mostly though when the investor, maybe they're on the newer side, they have an agent, and the agent says, "Oh no problem. I'll negotiate it. No problem at all. I'll just do it. It's not a big deal." That's usually where it comes into play. But yeah. So.
That's awesome. Do you on the, I guess the good and bad, when you started getting some volume, and obviously I've been with you through this process, Marianne, but I mean, hearing it from your side, like, when did you know it was time to kind of start to scale, to kind of hire that first person, second person, and what were the challenges there when you started to sort of build that team out?
That's the best challenge to have all the time. All the time. Oh my gosh, I have to hire somebody? That means you're doing good. I don't know. The challenge for me is, and I think from working with me, I am very stringent on how I like things done.
Control issues. We all have control issues.
Control issues, maybe, but because I know the pitfalls. I know what's going to come back and bite us. And even when I think I have everything in place, something will happen where it comes back. So then the next time I approach it differently, or, so I think training new people can be a challenge, because I like things done a particular way. And really, I do think to train a good short sale negotiator, not a paper pusher, not a processor, a negotiator, or a facilitator if you're in New Hampshire, a good thing that might take a year. I mean, I think it can take up to a year to get somebody really that knows what they're doing, that's comfortable, that I could be hands off with. I'll never be hands off, but I think that to be comfortable, it takes that time. It takes a year for somebody to really get up to speed. So, but hey, bring it on. If you say I'm going to dump 100 more short sales your way, I love it. I'll rise to the challenge, and we'll get 10 more people to negotiate with us here. So, but I love our staff now. So,
and who's the primary? Who are the people who call you the most to list? Is it realtors, investors, sellers, attorneys? I think it's all the above, but who would you say, what are the benefits to those people?
I think right now it's realtors and investors. Anyone that works with us kind of knows the benefits. It's less stress, They don't have to deal with the paperwork. They don't have to be on the phone 24/7 with the banks. If you're an agent or an investor, your time is valuable. I think your time is that valuable. If you're like just a one-off listing a year, or you buy one property a year, maybe. But if you're looking to do more and more volume, which I think most of us are, people want to grow their businesses, you're not going to have time to be on the phone with a bank for 20 minutes trying to find out an answer if they received, an authorization form or some form. Your time is more valuable than that. So those are the people that want to utilize us. Lawyers, they like us because we take that burden off of them. We've closed sales with buyers, closing attorneys who have called me afterwards and said that you just made that so smooth that I'm sending my short sales to you. So those are the best. Even buyers agents have come and said that was like the best transaction, the smoothest transaction. We knew it was happening. We appreciate that. So those are definitely the kind of clients we have and the kind that we want. They want to give up that piece of their business and so they can grow their company.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm realizing as she's speaking that I have a gigantic big white bulb that's blaring into my screen from my bald spot here.
You don't see it.
Good. So you guys aren't being blinded by this here on the screen?
No.
All right. Makeup.
I can put my let me see. Oh yeah, right there. Right. I see it. It's right there.
That's awesome.
Kidding.
Robbie, do you have any short sale questions before we kind of go into, I know you usually have a favorite question you love to ask all the guests.
Well, maybe we should go over some more kind of general knowledge. What service areas does SSM cover, Marianne?
Well, short sales specifically, but we have our fingers in everything.
Right.
So we have somebody that does foreclosure, a lawyer that will do foreclosure. Why am I blanking?
Litigation.
Litigation. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have a bankruptcy attorney that will do bankruptcies for clients. We have an attorney that will do injunctions for foreclosures. We are working with somebody right now. We're changing on somebody, but we're working with somebody to do loan modifications. So our fingers are everywhere. So if you have any type of real estate question, we have fingers there. And if you have somebody with equity and they just want to get rid of their property, we have buyers. We have we have a network of buyers that's huge. So if you're just looking to get rid of a property, maybe that you don't want to put on the market that has equity, we have people there. If you're looking to list your property, we work with tons of amazing agents at AA. So I think we have our fingers in everything, which is could be good and bad, but nice. we have an answer everywhere for real estate pretty much.
So that's great, because obviously as investors, a lot of times we come across seller wants to stay in their house, whatever. The bank already foreclosed, but maybe they weren't properly notified, that kind of thing. And obviously you have a lot of different people in your network who can help them with all those situations. So it's really great because for the people who want to go to the litigation area, we have somebody that does that. For people that want to stay there and try to modify, we can talk with them about that. For people that want to try to settle, maybe a lot of these people have not just their mortgage debt that they're dealing with, a lot of other debt that is accumulated. It could be medical, somebody could have got hurt, or death in the family, and our bankruptcy attorney is amazing. So he can really help anybody in that situation try to either clear up some of their debt, whether they want to keep their home or sell it, that's up to them. But he's also experienced in both of the ways they can file to try to keep it or sell it. So right. So just a follow-up question, geographically, what areas do you service?
Right now we are in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Maine.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes New York, right? Sometimes
I'll touch New York now and then. Yeah.
But mostly New England. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How about your market question, Rob? You love that question.
Yeah, we were just discussing this the other day actually with Marianne. What from what you've seen, where do you think we are in the market cycle?
Well, I have an opinion right now on it, but I don't know that my opinion is going to be favorable to a lot of people. And then I see the numbers, which I don't necessarily always understand either. I definitely think we're in for a correction. I think it's going to be by 2020. I know Nick has other thoughts on that. But I just
continuously wrong thoughts, I might add.
No. I mean, so if you look at the numbers now on total debt per household versus what they were in 2008, a lot of the mortgage debt is very similar, but the big, huge indicator on a lot of the debt issues I see and why I think it is going to affect the housing market is because of student loans. If you look at the total student debt people have right now, it's the student loans. Well, if those people come out into the economy and they're not buying real estate, don't have your buyers, I do think that there is going to be, and I don't think they are, I don't see college students running out of college and buying a home. I think that you have 100 other things to worry about. But right now, that's the biggest difference. It's a lot higher. The total debt per household that we have now compared to 2008 is higher, a lot higher, but it's because of student debt. So I do think we're going to go and see another market correction. I think it's going to happen probably between 2019 and 2020. I'm already seeing little pops of it right now. We're starting to deal with short sales from 2014 that people bought in 2014.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're close. How's that? In the market for another correction. Not too far out.
All right. Good answer. I like that.
Marianne, what's your I love this question. I know it is not maybe no relevancy to short sales or even real estate, but what's your most favorite purchase you've ever made for under $100?
My favorite purchase under $100?
It's a throwback to Tim Ferriss' podcast. I can do that another like 10 times before I don't have to give Tim credit anymore. But yeah, it's one of his questions. I love that question.
Am I supposed to know the answer to this right away?
No, you don't have to know. I sprung that on you too. None of these questions are prepared, folks. I just want to come up with things and talk.
My favorite purchase for under $100. I don't know. Probably tickets with my kids somewhere. That's all.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. Good.
You're the only speaker on this podcast that actually cares about kids. No one else has said that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing.
I love my kids. I love my kids. I love my family.
No, that's brilliant. Marianne, how, what's the absolute best way if an investor, and by the way, just taking a step back too, you said investor before, you meant behind the note, right? And we don't have much time to kind of go over that, but
yes. Yep.
The short sale world has different language than in real estate investors, right? Mm-hmm. Investors in short sales are the person who owns the note, right? Mm-hmm. Versus the servicer who just is the one who's doing collections and servicing that note. Mm-hmm. Those investors have different guidelines. How does a real estate investor, at what point and how can they get in touch with you when they think they have a deal, or are they able to just ask you general questions, or
sure.
How does that?
Yes, the best way to get me is call 978-384-0032. I'll say it again, 978-384-0032. You can always go to our website for more information, which is www.shortsaleמיtigation.net. So those are the best ways to get in contact with me. You can, what's the other thing? You can go on Facebook and get me too. I'm on Facebook. Short Sale Mitigation is on Facebook. So there's multiple ways. You can text me at that number. I may not know who you are, but I usually do respond to texts. So yeah.
And we are providing continuing education credits, right? For anyone who wants them.
Yes. So we teach in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. We have a 2 and a 3 hour course. So yeah, if you just want to drown in short sales, give us a call and we'll teach you. Drown in short sale information. But yeah, it's we have a lot we can offer somebody. So
that's awesome. So call us, right? That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Robbie, any further questions for the short sale queen, which by the way, I still want to do a whole marketing effort on the short sale queen on Google. I think we can do huge AdWords and have people just click on that over and over again. That'll be awesome.
No, I just want to say, investors, agents, if you want to learn a niche that obviously we think there's going to be a correction coming soon, that's probably going to pick up in the next few years, this is a great one to do. And if you have a company like SSM that you can send these people to, it's going to make your life 100 times easier, and you're going to make a lot more money. Even though it seems like you are going to be paying something, it's definitely worth it rather than using your own time.
Absolutely. Marianne, thank you so much for coming on the show with us. This has been an honor and a privilege to being your business partner, as well as it was a matter of time. We knew we'd get you on this. We knew we'd get you. So thanks for coming on. Any final words?
Nope. I can't wait to work with everyone, and I hope you all have a great day, and thank you both to Rob and Nick for inviting me today. It wasn't as awful as I thought it might be.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Tune in for in the next Thursday for the next podcast, whenever you're seeing this one, which will be airing. And Marianne Little, the short sale queen, peace out.